Hello and welcome to the She Reads Romance Books podcast, the ultimate show for romance book lovers looking for the best books worth reading. I'm your host, Leslie Murphy, and in each short episode, I share my favorite book lists of recommendations so you know exactly what to add to your must-read list. Join me as I explore the romance genre and have fun collecting book boyfriends along the way, because life is better with a love story. Hey readers! Here at She Reads Romance Books, I'm all about collecting the best book boyfriends. And yes, my husband is well aware of my hobby and has no problems with me obsessing over the latest male hero to capture my heart that I can't get enough of. So I figured I would share some of my favorite book boyfriends and romance heroes in a series of podcast episodes, starting with this one about my favorite male virgin heroes. In this episode, I'm delivering the 5 best virgin hero romance books that will pop your cherry if you're new to this popular romance book trope. Enough with the ladies being the only virgins in romance books. Let's hear it for the virgin heroes who are holding onto their V card until the right heroine comes along. Am I right? So let's dive in. Book 1 features one of my favorite virgin male heroes, and that book is The Game Plan by Kristen Callahan. This is book 3 in her Game On series, which features several football hotties, including both college and pro football romance books. The Game Plan features Ethan Dexter, who's a center in the National Football League. So let's start with that. He's a center. And if you don't know anything about football, the center is a big guy, as he's one of the linemen, and the center particularly snaps the ball to the quarterback. So think Jason Kelsey of the Philadelphia Eagles, who is my son's favorite football team. I love how Callahan made Ethan a center, because it kind of goes against the typical stereotype of what a male virgin would look like. So as I said, Ethan is this big guy. He's got a beard. He's covered with tattoos. He's totally yummy. And I loved the cover model that she chose for this book, by the way. But Ethan has always been totally focused on football, like 100%. But when he first meets Fiona, he becomes quite smitten with her. She is his college teammates and best friend Drew's sister-in-law, if you can follow that. And so that kind of always kept her off limits. Plus, she was a bit younger when they first met, when he was in college. But now they're a bit older, and he's like, I want you to see me, girl, right? And so they have this really great moment in a bar where they kiss that really sort of kicked things off for them. It was awesome. So of course, as the book goes on, he does lose his V card eventually, but they have to work out the long distance between them, and a couple of other issues arise. But this book was fantastic. And if you love the big, strong, silent types, then Ethan is definitely the male virgin hero for you. So pick up The Game Plan by Kristen Callahan. Book 2 of my favorites featuring virgin male heroes is Love Hacked by Penny Reed. Love Hacked is book 3 in her Knitting in the City series, which is divine, and a series you will totally want to binge read if you haven't already. Each book is about a woman in a close-knit friend group. I hope you like what I did there. And how she finds love. So Love Hacked is Sandra's story, and it's one of, honestly, my favorite romance books. Sandra is a child psychiatrist, and she has this history of her dates just unloading on her on their first date, which results in the date pretty much becoming a therapy session, the date crying, and Sandra pretty much back at square one without a man in her life. And she ends up having most of these dates at the same restaurant, And so after her last dating debacle, she ends up chatting with the young waiter, Alex, who is 21. She's totally attracted to the guy, even though he's much younger. And he's unlike sort of the typical men that she's dated, because he doesn't want to talk about his past and he doesn't want to talk about his feelings. He just wants to be with Sandra. And because he's sort of closed off, it takes a bit to get to know him, but I loved his backstory and the fact that he was a virgin in this romance. But I also loved how Sandra really had to learn how to just love him without fixing him, right? Which is probably her MO. It's particularly because of her job. But of course, since it's a Penny Reid book who loves to write smart romances, you're going to learn about hacking and Bitcoin and all kinds of stuff in this romance while falling for the super sexy virgin Alex. I honestly think I'm going to have to reread this one soon now after talking about it, because I just loved it so much. Book 3 in my list of romance books featuring super sexy virgin male heroes goes to Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. And I know I've probably mentioned Outlander before, but I freaking love the book and the series. I have all the books signed here at home on my bookshelves. So yes, Jamie Fraser is definitely one of my favorite book boyfriends and favorite virgin male heroes. The Scotsman is younger than Claire, and definitely the heroine in the story, if you're unfamiliar with it, and definitely less experienced, since Claire is married to Frank when she falls through the stones while on her second honeymoon, only to find herself thrown back 200 years in time. And because Claire is trying to find her way back to her own time, she definitely comes across as out of place to the Scotsman that she ends up riding with. They think she's a spy, then the British think she's a spy. So to protect her, she ends up marrying Jamie, who is the virgin, on their wedding night. And oh my gosh, the wedding episode is hands down probably my favorite episode in the Outlander TV series on Starz. But the book is incredible as well, obviously. I love how after they finally consummate the marriage in like 1 minute, right? 1 minute. And then Stan Hewen as Jamie Fraser looks over and asks, "Was it good for you?" When she clearly didn't have her own orgasm. And how he confesses that it was different than what he expected because he was only used to seeing horses do it the back way. Oh my gosh, it was just awesome. I love that part of the TV series and the book. So yes, definitely check out Outlander for one of the best virgin male heroes in romance. Book 4, moving on in my list of favorite male virgins, goes out to Always Only You by Chloe Lisi. This book is part of her Bergman Brothers series with a variety of sports romance books. But this one is one of my favorite hockey romances and office romance books because it features Ren, who is a professional hockey player, and Frankie, the woman he is secretly in love with, who is the social media manager for the team, which pretty much makes her off limits to Ren. So really, this book has all the tropes in it, right? Because it's a bit of forbidden romance since they work together. It's definitely a reverse grumpy sunshine romance, and it's an own voices romance with Frankie representing a woman on the spectrum with autism. But back to our male virgin, Ren, he is a total cinnamon roll and a man willing to wait years for Frankie. Seriously, Ren almost seemed too perfect to me when I was reading this book, if that's even a thing, but he was so kind and gentle and would do anything for Frankie, who suffered from chronic pain. But if you love, super good guys who dig Shakespeare, would do anything for his woman, even pine away for her for years before making his feelings known, then you'll love this male virgin hero in Always Only You. Book 5 of my Male Virgin Heroes to Love is a bit different, and I'm highlighting Something Fabulous by Alexis Hall. Alexis Hall writes queer romance, and I adored this gay historical romance that just made me smile the entire time I was reading it. This book features our male virgin hero, Valentine Layton, the Duke of Malvern. So Valentine proposes marriage to Miss Arabella Tarleton because it was his father's wish that he do so. But Arabella is like, heck no, I'm not marrying you. And she gets up and flees, disappears overnight, leaving Valentine and Arabella's twin brother, Bonnie, to chase after her. So they're sharing this carriage, traipsing all across the countryside to find Arabella. But Valentine starts developing feelings for Bonnie, who is this awesome, wild, romantic, and total drama queen. So this is a total opposites attract love story, but really this awakening for Valentine to the idea that he could have feelings for and love a man. I actually think he's demisexual in this book, but pretty much I think Alexis Hall made every character in this book queer, which was pretty awesome. But I will warn you, there's absolutely a degree of ridiculousness to this story, and yet I kind of liked that about it. And I adored how Bonnie helped Valentine with his self-discovery and, of course, his virginity as well. So I highly recommend it. So that wraps up my list of favorite virgin male heroes. And I'm sure I'll get to a list of my favorite female virgins in romance. So stay tuned for that episode. But right now, I'm letting the men steal the show. And if you want more favorite book boyfriends, definitely check out my book boyfriend hub on shereadsromancebooks.com, and then more of this series of episodes as well on the podcast. Also, if you haven't yet checked out my romance book reading journal, it is a must-have, if I do say so myself, because it's the only journal that has pages to track your favorite book boyfriends in romance, because I never want you to forget one, virgin or otherwise. So I'll include a link to it in the show notes, so definitely be sure to check it out and grab yourself a copy. And then happy reading! That's all for this episode of the She Reads Romance Books podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and found some new books to add to your TBR list. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. It really helps me reach more romance book lovers like you, and I appreciate your support. If you're a book boyfriend collector like me, then you'll want to join my email list so you never miss a podcast episode or a new book list. Just visit shereadsromancebooks.com/join and sign up today. As a thank you, I'll instantly send you my list of top 10 book boyfriends that will make you swoon. Trust me, you don't want to miss this list. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.